It's the business end of the season. The race for Europe now is really in full swing. It's getting quite intense, actually. The amount of teams now that are sort of vying for it. West Ham very much in the thick of it, of course. But it's because of the position now in terms that we're in and the amount of games left. It's becoming quite critical that we start getting the points on the board now. We can't afford to keep letting games slip us by, and we're not winning them. So Wolves versus West Ham, it's a big one. It really is. And it's one that if the hosts, i.e. Wolves, can get the 3 points, it would thrust them firmly into the European race, i.e. the top 8 finish for in the Premier League this season. So it's a big, big game. Really big this weekend. And it's one West Ham simply have to win. It's a must-win. I've said it previously in a video. West Ham need to win the next 3 games. Wolves, Fulham, and Crystal Palace in the league. They are vital games for us, and draws won't be good enough as far as I'm concerned. Usually you would say, yeah, point on the road's decent in the Premier League, but not at this stage of the season, considering the fact that we've got other games like Chelsea away, we've got Liverpool, Man City. You don't want to be relying on having to win any of those games, really. That won't be good for us. We want to be in the situation where the games are realistically, we've got more of a chance of winning. We want to take those with both hands. So before this going to West Ham, let's talk about Wolves, as we usually do. I've got to say, I'm really, really impressed with them. That they've been excellent this season. And I've particularly Gary O'Neill. I mean, yes, he's former West Ham, so there's always going to be that kind of soft spot for him. But I just like the guy. I think he's done so well. I think there's so much to admire about him. You know, I think he owes a lot, actually. I know I felt very sorry for him at the time. I think he owes a lot, actually, to Bournemouth for giving him the chance, because he was kind of a nobody in terms of management. You know, he wasn't somebody you would consider prior to that appointment of being a Premier League manager. But Bournemouth took a chance on him. He did well at Bournemouth. He kept them up, obviously, and everyone was pretty shocked, including myself, when he was let go. Bournemouth, of course, have kind of gone in another direction, and fair enough, they're doing okay. I'm not here to talk about Bournemouth, but Gary O'Neill got given the Wolves job. Now, I don't think it was the most glamorous of appointments. I don't know. I don't speak to Wolves fans, don't know enough quite about it, but I'm pretty sure that they would have been, oh, right, okay, not to be too excited about it, but he's possibly a safe pair of hands. But I think actually Gary O'Neill is possibly becoming a little bit more than that. I think he's more than just a safe pair of hands. You know, he's more than just maybe an Allardyce. You know, he'll just keep you up. I think Gary O'Neill's proved himself to be actually quite astute and a pretty decent manager. And considering the fact he's very inexperienced, he's very new to that environment of being a manager and a Premier League manager. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of pressure, a lot of money riding in this league. You know, every game's vital, and he came into the Wolves job, and I'll be honest, I was expecting them to struggle. Not because of Gary, not in that regard, but I thought they would have a tough season, Wolves. I certainly did not expect at this stage of the season to be talking about them as possible a team vying for a European finish. I think they're an outsider, I'll be honest, in terms of that. I think there's a few teams in there, I'd like to think ourselves included, West Ham, that possibly have got a little bit more than Wolves. But to even be considered in that conversation, I think they should be really proud, and Gary O'Neill should be really pleased with how well he's done. And, fair play to him and fair play to Wolves. They're a good club, a decent club, and very well established now in the Premier League. I mean, as I said, I kind of when we were doing the Premier League predictions, I foresaw that this sort of this tough campaign for them. I really thought they were going to be in a relegation battle. Actually, part of me actually thought they could be going this season. I really thought that it was just going to be a real slog for them. But they've really come together. They've put in some really decent performances. They put in some results together as well this season, which wouldn't have been expected. They've won, some big games where they were significantly the underdog. I just think that show it's a real testament to them and their character. No, I really do. I've got a lot of time for them, and long may it continue actually for them. I really do hope that Gary O'Neill continues doing what he's doing there and continues to be given the opportunity to progress as a manager, because he's a decent bloke. He comes across so well in the press, like really, really good. He handles situations like VAR and, controversies and all that kind of stuff. He handles it really well. He keeps his temper down. He talks very, very calmly. And yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about him, and I can see a bright future ahead of him. I really can. I think once he gets that experience more in terms of his tactics, etc., you can see he could really go on to do something special, Gary Neal. Actually, he really could. So yeah, really good. And as I say, they're well in the race for Europe, and they will no doubt be looking at this game as absolutely massive for their chances of getting into Europe. Because let's get it straight: if Wolves beat West Ham, well, one, they go above us straight away, and two, they are then firmly in that mix. They will be in the race now to the end of the season, and they will see it as that. They will know this is a huge opportunity. If West Ham, of course, can get the 3 points at Wolves, it really dents them, and it gives West Ham a huge step ahead of Wolves. It gives that cushion for us for them not to catch us. So it's a really big game. It is effectively like that sort of 6-pointer. It is a vital match for both sides. Before going to West Ham, I'm going to quickly talk about a couple of players. I'll save Craig Dawson to last. Neto, I mean, unbelievably gifted player. Really love watching him play. I actually like watching Wolves play, to be fair. I like that underdog grit they've got about them. They don't play the most exciting attacking football, but it's not bad either. You know what I mean? It's not. It's pretty decent, and I really rate him. And Hee-chan, I think, has been a good signing for them as well. Really adapted to the league, and yeah, a great player. They've got some really flair and exciting players to watch and be excited about. And I can only imagine that Wolves fans are really pleased with how the season's gone. They've not flirted with relegation at all. They've been in the right end of the table for much of it. You know, I wouldn't say, they've not been at the top, fighting for, top 6 or anything like that. But they've not been a team that you've considered at any stage they could be going down, as I expected them to be. I thought they were going to be slogging it out down the bottom all season, but no, not at all. They've done really well. Craig Dawson, I had to talk about before we go to West Ham. I mean, a brilliant player for us. Such a great player. And I'm so glad he's doing well there. I'm so glad that the Wolves fans love him as much as we do, because he deserves it. I mean, he came from nothing really when he came to West Ham. He'd struggled at Watford. We kind of got laughed at, didn't we, when we signed him? I certainly, I don't know if there's many West Ham fans who are excited when we signed Craig Dawson, but he really did, encapsulate what we were doing at that time. That's that first experience of Europe, and the big games. Went away to Lyon. He got that goal. I mean, he really was an excellent player. And it was just so sad that he had to leave. Of course, it was due to family reasons. It was totally understandable, and the circumstances were completely. Yeah, he had no choice to leave West Ham. He wanted to get closer to home, so it's totally understandable. Really sad, but I'll tell you what was great. He's gone on. He's carried that form on. He's become a real solid, reliable player for Wolves. And the fans love him there, and it's just great to see. And yeah, nothing but pride really regarding him, and also Gary O'Neill, as I say, former West Ham player, of course. And it's just great, really great to see it. So yeah, as you can probably say, I've nothing really negative to say about Wolves at all. I think they've done really well, and I'm chuffed for them. But of course, parking all that this weekend goes aside, because we have got to beat them, and it's a big game. On to West Ham, we've got some team news. Ariola is out. It's been confirmed by David Moyes. He's still not recovered from his groin injury. It looks like it's minor, though. It doesn't sound like it's anything too serious. It's purely that he just isn't quite ready yet. So Fabianski will be back in goal. I don't see that as too much of a problem. I think Fabianski's actually been really decent for us this season when called upon. Do you know what I mean? We are lucky that we're in that situation where we've got two very good goalkeepers, because it weren't too long ago, a few years back, when we'd be thinking, oh my God, we're chucking Roberto in. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking, oh my God, that's us now, completely knackered. But we've got a reliable pair of hands there, and Fabianski. It's obviously hopeful that he can stay fit. But no, it's that's the sort of the only negative, I think, in regards to the lineup. The real big positive, of course, is Edson Alvarez is back in the squad. David Moyes actually has had a little bit of a dig at Edson Alvarez, and to be honest with you, I kind of get it. I do. I don't get me wrong. I love Alvarez, love the character. I love his grit. I love the fact he's come into this side and really works hard, and sort of, the fans have really taken to him, and etc. I love all of that, but he does pick up too many yellow cards. Let's get it right. He really does. And David Moyes has basically said that he's hindering us with these yellow cards. We can't keep coping with these suspensions. So I really do hope that actually resonates to the player a little bit, because some of the yellow cards are a little bit needless, I must say. He does tend to, I wouldn't say lose his head, but it's almost like he feels the need to get stuck in, you know what I mean? And no, I'm not having this. I'm not having him run around my teammate. I'm going to clatter him. When really, a lot of the time you watch it and think, you didn't really need to do that, though. You could have just forget that. Just follow the player. Be careful. Be mindful. You know, and because let's be honest, not having him on the pitch is a blow. We haven't got another option. Calvin Phillips is not another option. Go back and watch my previous video if you want to hear me moan about Calvin Phillips. And a few people had a little bit of a dig at me about it and said, oh, you know, you're kicking him when he's down and it's a bit nasty and all that stuff. It certainly isn't. That wasn't my intention to kick the player when he's down. It was just saying it as it is. It's not been a good loan, and it's a shame. It really is. And of course, the situation with him and the fans, Calvin Phillips. I mean, when he came away from the Newcastle game, sticking his finger up and stuff, it just hasn't helped his time at the club at all. It's really a real shame where we are with it. But Edson Alvarez is back, so we need him fit and available now until the end of the season. Of course, we miss him next week against Leverkusen in the first leg away, which is going to be tough. And we can't rely on Phillips. Do you know what I mean? So it's not ideal. However, he's back for this. I'm really hope that gives us a lift because we need it. We not saying we need a lifting because we're flat and on the floor, but we need everything now. These players need to come together and win this game. This is an absolutely vital fixture in our hunt for European football. If West Ham can come away from Molineux with 3 points, it would really give that feeling that we're on course a little bit here. You know, we do need the 3 points, especially with the next 2 games after that coming up, i.e. in Fulham and Palace. Very winnable games as far as I'm concerned. So we want to set the tone, and this is one here. A defeat isn't best thinking about, actually, to be honest. I think actually a defeat against Wolves, I think the confidence levels of us getting in Europe would be very, very slim then. Certainly for myself anyway. I'd start to believe that we're actually not going to achieve it this season. So it is that big for me. It's make or break. This one's a big game. Zuma, I have to talk about Kurt Zuma. I've been so impressed with him in the last few weeks. I mean, his form in the turn of the new year and his fitness situation was not good. Not good at all. He literally was struggling to walk, let alone run. I for one was very much calling for him to be dropped, to be rested, because it just didn't look like he was going to recover. He looked in such bad shape and his confidence levels looked terrible. And I was very concerned, but I must say I've been really pleased with him. And I thought his performance against Tottenham was excellent and very much worthy of the Man of the Match award. He was excellent, really good. So yeah, and I think it's worth a mention because having your captain and a player like that in good form is vital. Absolutely vital, and we need it. We need everyone coming together now and being in top nick. Sorry for this run into the end of the season, and having Zuma back in that kind of form is really good, really great to see. Before I go on to it as well, I'm going to talk about a video tomorrow about this. I hate talking about it too much because David Moyes, and it's all the same. It feels like we're sort of having to keep, but we repeat the same sort of things in terms of the subject. I mean, not necessarily the story, but the subject of David Moyes' future at West Ham. But there does seem to be some developments on that, looking like he is likely to go. But we're going to talk about that, as I say, tomorrow. But basically, it's in regards to Tim Steidten and the plans for next season. It's looking likely now Moyes is in his final season, so we'll talk about that, as I say, in a bit more. But I'd like to think, actually, that Moyes possibly now in the last period of his time at West Ham, I think it could help us, actually. I'd like to think it will, i.e. that the manager will want to go on a high. You know, if he can get that rubber stamp, I've got that club back into Europe. I've got him there 4 years in the spin. That really looks good on his CV. And who knows, maybe even another trophy. You never know for that man. And it would be amazing. Really would be incredible. As I said, this is a must-win game for West Ham. I don't care. I know some people will try and say, well, no. If we draw it, that's good. And we can. I think we're past that now. I think the point, having 1 point from Newcastle and Spurs just simply wasn't good enough. We needed 4, realistically. I think if we'd now had another 3 points of where we are now, possibly you could probably take the draw against Wolves. It probably wouldn't be so bad. But I think because of the fact we've dropped points, Chelsea have won. Chelsea are very much up with us now. It's looking tough for West Ham. It really is. And the only way we're going to get ourselves now into a far more solid position to sort of see the last few games and maybe and get us over the line is if we win the next 3. And I really do mean that. We need 9 points for the next 3 games. So I'm sorry, I can't go away from the fact that this is a must-win game for West Ham. It really is. So I want to know your scores. I want to know your score predictions. You get it right, you enter the draw, and then you get a free item from our shop. So why not? Why not go for it? And also, you've got to be a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, just click subscribe, free to do so. And you follow us on this journey, of course, which is, it's always a pleasure, isn't it? I mean, when is it not a pleasure supporting West Ham? Right, here we go then. This is my team. It's pretty obvious. I'm going to be honest with you. Pretty obvious. It's not. There's no great excitement in this one, but let's wait and see. Maybe you won't agree with me. If you don't, let me know. I'm going Fabianski in goal only because of Ariola not being available. Soufal at right back. He's dropped a little bit in form recently for Soufal, but I think he sort of recovered against Spurs. He worked hard, but he was at fault for their goal. We need him back in decent form. So I'd like to see him play this because I think he needs to sort of rediscover his form and get back to where he needs him to be. But at the same time, if he is a little bit tired, I'd be more than happy to see Ben Johnson deployed at right back. But at the moment, I'm going for Soufal. Mavropanos and Zuma for me. I thought they both played really well against Tottenham. Mavropanos was one of his best games for us, actually. He was great. And Emerson, of course, at left back. Midfield, the returning Edson Alvarez, of course. How could he not be in that side? He is what makes us tick. He is the anchor to the side, isn't he? He really does help everywhere, and he's vital. Vital. We need to keep him fit and keep him bloody away from these yellow and red cards now. Really do. Thomas Souček, I want partner in him. I've been pleased with Souček of late. Him and James Ward-Prowse aren't the ideal midfield, but they work really hard, and that's all you need. And yeah, we need him to be a part of this game. Actually, I think he could be a threat against Wolves. I'm going to have Lucas Paqueta playing behind the front three in the middle, but I'd let him, give him the option to roam, maybe change over with Kudus occasionally. I'd like him to switch around because I'm going to chuck Kudus out on the left. I'm going to put Bowen out on the right and Mikel Antonio up front. Now, I am concerned over the fitness levels. I'm worried that we're slogging these players and flogging players, like literally, you know what I mean? I worry about what the manager is doing to these players because he doesn't like to rotate. We know that. This is what we talked about in January. You know, we needed other options. We needed to see the club being a bit more courageous and going out there and getting the players that we needed to give us other options. They haven't really done that. And we're feeling it now. Do you know what I mean? We brought in Calvin Phillips, even he can't even get a kick. So it's not ideal. It's not ideal not having other options available, but we are where we are and we need our best players playing in these games. And as I've said, because this is a must-win game and it's a game I think we'll win. I hate predicting West Ham are going to win, but I have to go with what I feel like. I have to go with my brain and my heart and what I genuinely believe. I think West Ham will win this game. I've just got this feeling we will. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to West Ham with Mohamed Kudus on the score sheet as well. I want to know what you think. Let me know your score. Let me know what you think. And let me know if I've got my team completely cocked up or you agree with me. I mean, I'd like to think I've got it right. Because we ain't got many players to pick, have we? Let's be honest. David Moyes ain't going to do much else. But it's pick the team that you fancy. Let me know and let me know your score. It's a big one. It's must win. Come on, you Irons.